John Black Johnny, what's good, brother? Thanks for coming. Welcome to another underrated music talk. I'm gonna read about blues tonight, the history of blues. All right, told you I'm be dropping it, so we'll read the history of blues and how blues play a major role in popular music. So we're gonna wait for some more people to come in. I know people's like, they're gonna wonder like, why did not get an invite? I'm not send some at times I'm not gonna send no invites. I'm just gonna send it. I'm just gonna like want people to come in. So we're gonna wait for some more people to filled up. We're gonna read this about blues, history of blues. Hey, plug this up. Wait for some more people to come in. And like the young people have to know more about music like this. Have to. So wait for some more people to come in. Glad everybody's doing all right. Wait for some more people to fill up. For watching. It was an excellent build that we had tonight between us brothers. It was on Gab Talk Media. And brothers, let's build. Time is now. Let's build. And let's not stay away for a long time. Goes for me too. So it's excellent build tonight. Last night. No. But that's great. And Gab, keep your head up, brother. If you hear me, keep your head up, bro. Wherever you do, I'm in alignment with you. you know, you're gonna have some people gonna try to cause confusion. That's how some brothers is. They some bunch of Mr. Softies. But with him with Gab and anybody, shout out to the Manosphere. Shout out to them. You shout out to the brothers. I'm not gonna say that we pull black, but we black first. So shout out to us, the rest of them. So, and we all, as black men, we do have a voice, and we need to support each other. I'm in alignment with that, and advocate for ourselves. John Brooks, what's good? I appreciate that. I appreciate that, John Brooks. Support John Brooks. You always show me love, so show love back. No. Waiting for some more people to come in. Read about history of blues. Poetic Cows, the lovely one. How you doing? Very much appreciated. I don't know that this is going to be a panel discussion because there's quite a few don't really know about blues. I know about blues, but I'm gonna read about it. And if it's gonna be a talk panel, it's gonna be I'm gonna pick certain people out. It's gonna be mature talk. I mean, mature people gonna be talk about this because we have to learn about this. Welcome, Monique Hill. Like I say, four was a beautiful bill last night. Appreciate that. Shout out to all the brothers that participate. Um, but um, we're going in a few minutes. We're gonna read about the history of blues. Um, got some good. I don't know, Spirit of Truth. Shout out to you. I really don't know. It really depends. It really depends on people. I don't know. It really depends. But shout out to you. Um, So thanks for coming. Very much appreciated. Thank you. And also, I have a PayPal account. If you want to do that, I have a super chat if y'all want to donate. That'd be very much appreciated. All right. I appreciate the compliment, Spirit of Truth. I appreciate that. I don't get those compliments often, but I appreciate that. I really do. No, I really appreciate that. Oh, dang. Good evening too. Again, I appreciate Spirit of Truth. I really appreciate the compliment. I really do. I really appreciate that. I'm very humble you saying that. Well, I just try to do the best I can. That's it. I ain't no I'm elite now. You know, I lead by example and let my life degree show what it is. That's it. But before we continue, we're gonna wait for a few more minutes. The people line up. Okay. Um, no trolls tonight, family. My doom shotters, no trolls tonight. Please share my link. And like I said before, if you want to donate, I got a PayPal account on here. And also you can hit super chat. If not, hit the like button. Either one can lose. All right. All right. Shout out to you, everybody so far in the chat. Welcome to the Underrated Darkness. That's my channel. Also, please share this stream throughout social media. That'd be very much appreciated. Also, check out the ones that I did in the past. Let's get them likes up on those. Also, make sure when y'all come to hear this powerful live stream or video, the bell be lit up. Okay. Also in my descriptions, you will see my hashtags and also the links of my social media. So in case that y'all want to drop a line or two, you go to the description box, you will see it. Okay. And also my hashtags, right? So sometimes I'm gonna use my hashtags too, family. I don't know when, but it depends on the show. I don't know. I'll probably wait till maybe end of this month and in April. But I'm not gonna do it like all the time. But it's between end of this month and April. I was like, picking out different hashtags that I created in the past. Okay, so watch out for that. I know people want to know why you picked the history of blues. It is because it's part of our history. It's created back in the South. I know back in the day, I mean, in the years, last 40, 50 years, you probably see a lot of different ethnics had played the music of blues, but we created it and we don't get the credit that we deserve. So we're gonna wait for some more people come in. Like I said, I don't know what's going to be a panel discussion tonight. I really don't. I really don't know. But like I said, on my channel, I do music. I do boxing. I do have a sports show, but that's on hold. Hopefully be back for that in the near future. I talk about politics. I got my hands in everything. And also me and PK Boxing and MMA. I want y'all to go check that out. Okay. It was excellent. We talk about some boxing and mostly about MMA, the dirtiness of it. And I think that y'all should pay attention of it, especially ladies, because ladies do fight MMA, and so I want y'all to check that out too. All y'all. All right. So there's information on my channel that you need to know. Okay, so um he wish you well and everything. Most I will have him back in the near future. Okay, and or what I'm just doing, just bring bring whatever I can, you know. And I want to let you know that I'm very appreciated what y'all had give to me. And I just want to let you know that y'all are greatly appreciated. Y'all trust me, y'all greatly appreciated. I'm glad that y'all come here. Y'all have any problems at the house or whatever it is that I can take your mind off certain things. That's what it's all about. And y'all the ones keep the channel growing. Y'all do. Y'all keep the channel growing. And for a minute. And I want to thank y'all for that. Your content creators, y'all know what I'm talking about, the ones who doing it's not easy. It's not easy, but that's one of the few things I enjoy doing to impact somebody. And just want to let you know that I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. But we're gonna wait for some more people. People is full, it seems like it's full up nice. That's good. So we're gonna wait for some more people and we're gonna read about the history of blues and be patient. It's like quite it's like information, okay? So to be patient. Oh, shoot. Shout out to the LDBC, stands for Lions Den Boxing Community, also basketball community. We not just talk about sports. We do things in our community. We are leaders in our community. Um, they do have merchandise. I want y'all to check it out. Go to www.ldbc.com. Want y'all to check out Ticket TV, One LVZ, Black Fight Fans, 7-8 Sports. They have merchandise that you can get. Just guarantee that the money go right back in our community. Okay, and check out Blue Blood Sports. Check out him. Check out Town Biz. That's the one. That's the one that introduced me to LDBC years ago. All right. Fresh Barbershop. Um, Black reality TV. I can go on, but um, I want y'all to check the brothers and sisters out, or everybody at the LDBC brings something to the table, and it's a family. And hopefully in the near future, I might have some brothers in the LDBC come to this channel and chop it up with us. You know what I mean? I'm trying to work on some things. It's gonna take a little time. So um but it's very important. So especially us as black men, we have to unite. So we're gonna wait for some more people come in the chat. And it's not really last minute I'm doing it because I meant to do it earlier, but I had a bad headache. Ooh, I had a bad headache. So I check it. I had a little headache, just tiny headache, but it's going away. So I want to get something to the family. The underrated music talk, history of blues. Very important that we know about blues, where it starts from and stuff. I know people say, "Why is you doing it?" I want some more people to come in because it's going to be quite much information I'm going to read about, and in case if I'm going to do a panel discussion, I want people to know. I want people to know what I read. Okay, so um, we need some more people to come in. So we'll give like 5 more minutes, maybe 7 more minutes. Then maybe 7 more minutes. We don't get it cracking. One that just came in. Let's get them lights up. Thank you. I hope everybody day went well. I hope you're safe in the house, warm. That's what's up. Go and travel. Make sure you travel in groups. That's also very important. Fam, by about 3-4 more minutes, fam. We gonna get it cracking. 3-4 more minutes. Again, I had PayPal account, also super chat. Any of y'all want to donate, feel free. Also hit the like button. Oh yeah, excellent job last night, Kels. Excellent job last night as usual. The lovely poetic Kels. Anytime, my pleasure. The lovely poetic Kels. 2 more minutes, family. 2 more minutes. I'm still here, fam. Just waiting for some more people to fill up. Me. Okay, family. Let me get this up. All right, let me check it out one time. We're gonna get into this any minute now. The history of blues. All right, let's see that. All right, family, welcome. And the ones who come a little late, just catch you on the week one. Like again, it might be panel discussion, mature minds only. All right. So just letting people know. You want to come in the chat? I gotta see you. If I decided that I want to have the panel discussion, I gotta see you. Right? If I don't feel like it, just don't feel like it. All feelings. All right. Blue. Well, again, I'm sorry, family. Welcome to the Underrated Music Talk. Welcome, family. Now we're gonna read. I'm gonna read about the history of blues. And again, thanks again, family. Very much appreciated. Blues is a music genre, a music form which was originated in the deep South of the United States around the 1870s by African Americans from roots in Africa musical traditions. African Americans work songs, spirituals, and the folk music of white Americans and Europeans. Now I'm gonna stop right there because everybody talking about folk music, it was a journey. No, it came from blues. It came from blues. All right, here we go. Blues incorporated spiritual works, work songs, field hollers, shouts, chants, and rhymes, simply narrated ballads. The blues formed from ubiquitous in jazz, rhythm and blues, and rock and roll is characterized by the call and response patterns. The blues scales of specific chords progressions, in which of the 12-bar blues is most common. Blue notes in parentheses or worry notes, usually thirds or fifth flattened pitch, are also an essential part of the sound. Blues shuffles and walk bass reinforce the trance-like rhythm and form repetitive effect known as the groove. Now I said blues, stylistic origin, work song, spiritual, okay, cultural origins, late 19th century D South. All right. Typical instruments: guitar, piano, harmonica, bass, drums, blue harp, side guitars, xylophone, trombone. Derivative forms: rhythm and blues, bluegrass, jazz, jug band, ragtime, rock and roll, country. Subjects: boogie woogie, classical, female blues, country blues, electric blues, jump blues, piano blues. Fusion genres: biker metal, blues, rock, gospel blues, punk blues, rhythm and blues, soul blues. Now, all the stuff I'm reading right now, I'm getting back to the story. I just want you to know. Let's put it down. I just want to read. Regional sings. British blues, Canadian blues, Chicago blues, Delta blues, Detroit blues, Hill Country blues, Kansas City blues, Louisiana blues, Memphis blues, New Orleans blues, Piedmont blues, St. Louis blues, Swamp blues, Texas blues, West Coast blues. Now, the other topic we ain't gonna read about that. Gonna stop right there before I continue. I want y'all to understand this. There's many variations that comes from blues family. And so they're not going to tell you about this because they do not want us to know, especially us as black people. So now, Curry, Carl Hyde, welcome. Welcome. Now, we're going to get back to the story to the music of blues. Blues as a genre is also characterized by its lyrics, bass lines, and instrumentalization. Early traditional blues verse consists of a single line repeatedly four times. It was only in the first decade of the 20th century that the most common current structure became standard. The AAB pattern consists of a one line sung over four, fir- the four first bars in repetition over the next four, and then longer concluded line over the last bars. Early blues frequently took the form of a loose narrative, often relating the racial discrimination of other challenges experienced by African Americans. Merely elements such as the call and response format and the use of a blues note can be tracked back to the music of Africa. The origin of blues are also closely related to the religious music of a Afro American community, the spirituals. The first appearance of the blues is often dated to after the ending of slavery and later the development of juke joints. It is association with the newly acquired freedom of the former slaves. Chronicles began to report about blues music in the dawn of the okay, sis. Let me read again. Chronicle beginning to report about blues music at the dawn of the 20th century. The first publication of blues sheet music was in 1908. Blues has since evolved from unaccompanied, accompanied vocal music and oral traditions of slaves into a wide variety of styles and subgenres. Blues subgenres include country blues, such as the Delta blues and Paramount blues, as well as urban blues, West Coast blues. World War II marked the transition from acoustic to electric blues and the progressive opening up blues music to a wider audience, especially white listeners. In the 1960s and 1970s, a hybrid core blues rock developed, which blend blues style with rock music. Etymology. The term blues may come from the blues devils, meaning melancholic and sadness. An early use of the term in the sense is in George Coleman one act Fierce Farce Blue Devils 1798. The phrase Blue Devils may also has been derived from Britain in the 1600s, when the term referred to the intense visual hallucinations that could accompany several alcoholic withdrawals. As times went on, the phrase lost the reference to devils, and this came to mean a state of agitation or depression. By the 1800s, in the U in the United States, the term blues was associated with drinking alcohol, a meaning which survives in the phrase blue law, which prohibits the sales of alcohol on Sunday, through the use of phrase in African American music, may be older. It has been attested to in print since 1912. When Hart Want Dallas Blues became the first copyright blues composition. composition. Sorry. In lyrics, the phrase is often used to describe a depressive mood, and is in this sense of a sad state of mind that one of the earliest recorded reference to blues was written by Charlotte Fortin, then age 25, in her diary on December 14th, 1862. She was a free-born black from Pennsylvania who was working as school teacher in South Carolina. A black woman. Let me read again. Charlotte Fortin, then age 25, in her diary, December 14, 1862. She was a free-born black from Pennsylvania who working as a school teacher in South Carolina, instructing both slaves and freemen, and wrote that she came home with the blues because she felt lonesome and pity herself. She overcame her depression and laid a note of numbers of songs such as Poor Rosie that were popular among the slaves, although she admits been unable to describe the matter of singing she heard. Fulton wrote that the songs could be sung without a full heart, and a troubled spirit conditions had inspired countless blues songs. A black woman, family, a black woman. Muhammad's the one, man. Oh my God. You gotta work on your phone, bro. John Brooks is good peoples. Oh, thank you so much, Shug. Very much appreciate, brother. I really appreciate it. Yo, shout out to my brother. I'm go to his channel. Got some great stuff on it. Salute to you, family. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, my brother. Um, I appreciate that. Thanks again. Thanks again. Appreciate that. Now we're gonna go about lyrics. American blues singer Howard John Robert Johnson, 1911. He was born in 1911, passed away in 1938. His landmark recording in 1936 and 1937 displayed a combination of singing, guitar skills, and songwriting talents that has been influenced later generations of music. Now, people, I'm gonna before I continue. Robert Johnson is very that he responsible to help create the early part of R&B, even rock and roll, even some jazz. All right. Before I get to the story, American blues singer Ma Rainey, 1886. She was born 1886, and she passed in 1939. The mother of the blues. All right, might do a story about her too. Never know. I'll get back to the story. The lyrics of early traditional blues verse probably often consists of a single line repeated 4 times. It was only in the first decade of the 20th century that the most common chorus structure became standard. The so-called AAB pattern consists of a line sung over first 4 bars, a repetition over the next 4 bars, and then the longer concluded over the line the last 4 bars. I read that earlier, but we're gonna make sure people get it again. Two of the first publishing blues songs, Dallas Blues, 1912, and St. Louis Blues. Now, people say, what's they heard of St. Louis Blues? There is an NHL hockey team named St. Louis Blues. All right, that sounds familiar. There is St. Louis blues in the music genre. That's 1914. Were 12 bar blues with the AAB lyric structure. W.C. Handy wrote that he adopted this convention to avoid the monotone of lines repeat 3 times. That's another legend. Y'all need to check that out. He helped create things too. The lines are often sung following from a pattern closer to rhythmic talk than a melody. Early blues frequent took the form of a loose narrative. African American singer voices or her personal woes in a world of harsh reality, a love lost, the cruelty of police officers, oppression of the hands of white folks, and hard times. The Melancel had led to the suggestion of a Igbo origin for blues because of the reputation of Igbo had throughout plantations in the Americans for their melancholic, music and outlook on life when they was enslaved. The lyrics often relate trouble experienced within African American society. For instance, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Rising High Water Blues, 1927, tell the Great Mississippi Flood in 1927. Backwater Rising, Southern people cannot make no more. I said backwater rising, Southern people cannot make no time. And I can't get no hearing from that Memphis girl of mine. Although the blues gained in association with misery and oppression, the lyrics could also be humorous and raunchy. Rebecca, get your big legs off this. Get your big legs off me. Rebecca, get your legs off of me. It may be sending to you, baby, but it worries the hell out of me. From Big Joe Turner, Rebecca, a compilation of traditional blues lyrics. Holcomb blues music celebrates both comedic, comedic lyrical content as a boisterous, farcical performance style. Tampa Red classical, tight like that. 1927 is a shy wordplay with the double meaning of being tight with someone coupled with a more salacious physical for formality. Blues songs with sexual explicit was known as dirty blues. I'm gonna stop right there because there's a lot of people be thinking, oh, they were saying like music like 30, 40, 50 years ago. No, they was beyond that. But it was clean though. They called dirty blues because it was little explicit and stuff like that. But they started it. So I want y'all to know that. Let's go on. The lyric contained being slightly simpler post-war blues was tended to focus on relationships, vows, and sexual worries. Political themes and frequent appear in pre-war pre-war blues such as economic depression, farming, devils, gambling, magic, floods, and drought were less common in post-war blues. The writer Ed Morales claimed that Yamba mythology played in a part in early blues. Cite Robert Johnson Crossroad Blues as a thinly vibe reference of Elega, the usher in charge of the crossroads. Interesting. However, the Christian's influence was far more obvious. The repertories of many seminal blues artists such as Charlie Patton, Skip James, including religious songs as spirituals, Reverend Gary Davis, and Blind Willie Johnson as examples of artists often characterized a blues musician of for their music, although their lyrics would clearly belong to spirituals. Now we're gonna talk about forms. Before I get to it and everything, let's check out the family. Again, thanks again, Shug. Money Boy Films, thanks for coming. Very much appreciated. Thanks again. All reliable as always. Thanks for coming. Salute to everybody. All right. I might do, I might have a panel discussion. It depends how I feel. But if you're gonna come, we're gonna talk about um the blues, the history of blues. So, and appreciative of it. So I want people to be very serious to come to the panel because this is great stuff tonight. Let's get back. So a good salute to everybody that come in. So let's get back to the story. Now we're gonna talk about the forms of it, the form of blues. The blues form is a cycle cycle music musical form in which a repeat progression of chords mirror the core of and response schemes common found in African American music during the first decade of the 20th century. Music blues was not clearly defined in terms of a particular core progression. With the popular of early performers such as Bessie Smith used 12 bar blues spread across the music industry during the 1920s and 30s. Other chord progressions, such as 8 bar forms, are still considered blues. Examples include How Long Blues, Trouble in Mind, and Big Bill Bronzy Key to the Highway. There are also 16 bar blues, such as Ray Charles instrumental Sweet 16 and Herbie Hancock Watermelon Man. Endos saturated. Endos increated. Number of bars, excuse me, are occasionally used, such as a 9 bar progression in Sitting on the Top of the World by Walter Vincent. And also, they were showing like the chart of the chords play over 12 bars and start and even chords for blues in C's. So they show that. Continue. The basic 12 bar lyric framework of a blues composition is reflected by a standard harmonic progression of 12 bar in a 4 by 4 time signature. The blues chords associated to a 12 bar blues are typical in set of 3 different chords played over 12 bar scheme. They are labeled by Roman numbers referring to the degree of progression. For instance, for a blue in the key of C is the tonic chord, and F is the subdominant, and that's IV. The last chord is the dominant is V, in parentheses. Turn around, marking the transition to the beginning of the next progression. The lyrics generally end on a last beat and of the 10th bar or the first beat of the 11th bar. Excuse me. and the final two bars are given to the instrumentalist as a break. The, harmo- the, the harmony of this two bar break, the turnaround can be extremely complex, sometimes consisting of single notes that define analysts in terms of chords. Much of the time, some of all these chords are played for harmonic seven. Excuse me, seventh form. The use of harmonic seven is a rather interval is characteristic of blues and is popularly called the blues seven. Blues seven chords add to a harmonic chord a note a frequency in a 7-4 ratio to the fundamental note at it's one fiddle note. At a 7-4 ratio, it is not close by any interval on the conventional Western diatonic scale. For convenience by necessary, it is often approximated by a minor seven interval or a dominant seven chords, and they also show the notes what I just read. In melody, blues is distinguished by the use of flatted third, fifth, and seventh of the association major scale. They also show, we ain't gonna play that because I can't play music on here and everything. Okay. Excuse me. Blues, shuffle, and walking bass reinforce trance-like rhythm and call in response, and they form a repetitive effect called a groove. Characteristics of the blues since its Afro-American original. The shuffle played for a central role in swing music. The simplest shuffles, which were the clearest signature of the R&B wave that started in the mid 1940s, were a three-note riff on the bass strings of the guitar. When this riff was played over the bass and drums, the groove field was created. Shuffle rhythms is often vocalized as do, da, do, da, dum, dee dum, da, as y'all heard in the past. It consists of a vent or swung, 8 notes. On the guitar, this may be played as simply steady bass, or it may add to that stepwise quarter note motion from the fifth and sixth chord in the back. They actually show that, and they show Memphis Blues playing stuff like Crazy Blues. We're going to skip all this. Oh, wow. Stupid. Okay. History. Origin. The first publication of blues sheet music may have been I Got the Blues, published by New Orleans musician Antonio Maggio in 1908 and described as the earliest publishing composition known as the link to the condition having the blues to the musical form that would become popular known as the blues. Part 1, Dollar Blues, was published in 1912. W.C. Handy, the Memphis Blues, followed in the same year. The first recorded by first Afro-American singer was Mamie Smith, 1920, rendition of Perry Bradford Crazy Blues. But the origins of the blues was some decades earlier, probably around 1890. I read that. We heard about that already. This music was poorly documented, partially because of racial discrimination in the U.S. society, including academic circles, and partially because of low rate of literacy among rural African Americans at the time. Reports of blues music in southern Texas and the D South was written
at the dawn of 20th century. That's what we read before. Charles Peabody mentioned the appearance of blues music in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and that's they really. I've never heard that. Let me say that there are some people said that that is the main spot that it comes from, Clarksdale, Mississippi. I don't know where it is. I heard that years ago, so don't quote me on that. I'm just saying. And Gate Times reported similar songs in southern Texas around 1901, 1902. The observations conceal more or less with the recollection of Jelly Roll Moulton. Now, Jelly Roll Moulton, he's a blues great who said the first hear blues music in New Orleans in 1902. Ma Rainey, who remember first hearing the blues in the same year in Missouri, and W.C. Handy, who first heard the blues in Tutwiler, Mississippi in 1903. So see, so what I'm saying, family, they not going to tell you this because they don't want us to know. But there's some great blues music was happening in the 1800s and going to the early 1900s. This is fact. All right. The first extended research of the field was performed by Howard W. Autumn, Ardham, who published an anthology of a folk songs from Lafayette County, Mississippi, and Newton County, Georgia, between 1905 and 1908. The first non-commercial recording of blues music, termed proto blues by Paul Oliver, was made by Autumn for research purpose at the very beginning of the 20th century. Y'all, they are now lost. Yeah, figure that. Other recordings that are still available were made in 1924 by Lois Gillard. Later, some recordings was made by Robert W. Gordon, who became head of the Archives of American Folk Songs of Library of Congress. Gordon's successor at the library was John Lomax. In the 1930s, Lomax and his son Alan made a large number of non-commercial blues recordings that testifies to the use of various of proto blues styles, such as field holler and ring sounds. A recording of blues a recording of blues music as it exists before 1920 can also be found in the recordings of artists such as Lee Bailey, and Henry Thomas. All these sources show the existence of many different structures distinct for 12, 8, or 16 bars. And they show a picture of John Lomax shake hands with musician Uncle Rich Brown in Sumterville, Alabama. That was definitely decades ago. Get back to the story. The social and economic reasons for the appearance of the blues was not fully known. The first appearance of the blues is usually dated at the Anticipation Act of 1863 between 1870 and 1900, a period that coincides with post emancipation and later the establishment of juke joints as places where blacks went to listen to music, dancing, or gamble after a hard day work. This period corresponds to the transition from slavery to sharecropping, small-scale agriculture productions, and the expansion of railroads in the southern United States. Several scholars categorize the development of blues in the early 1900s as a move from group performance to individualized performance. They argue that the development of the blues is associated with the newly acquired freedom of the enslaved people. According to Lawrence Levine, there was a direct relation between the national ideology emphasis upon the individual, the popularity of Booker T. Washington teachings, and the rise of the blues. Levine states that the psychologically, socially, and economically, African Americans was being acculturated in a way that they would have been impossible during slavery, and it's hardly surprising that their secular music reflected this as much as their religious music did. That's interesting. There are few char- characteristics common to all blues music because the genre took in shape from adult crazes of individual performers. However, there are some characteristics that was present long before the creation of modern blues. Call and response shop were early from a blues like music. They were they were a function expression style without accompaniment of harmony and unbounded by the formality of any particular music structure. A form of this pre-blues was heard in slave ring shouts and field hollers. It spanned into simply solo songs, laden with the emotional content. Blues had evolved from unaccompanied vocal music and oral traditions of slaves imported from West Africa and rural blacks into a wide variety of styles of subgenre with regional variations across the United States. Although blues is previously as it's now known, can be seen as a musical style in base of both European harmonic structures and the African call and response tradition that transforms into interplay voice and guitar. The blues from itself bears no resemblance to the melodic styles of the West African genre, and the fluids are faint as tendrils. Additionally, there are theories that the four beat per measure structure of the blues might have its origin in the Native American tradition of powwow drumming. No specific African musician form can be identified as single direct ancestor of the blues. However, the call and response format can be traced back to the music of Africa. That blue note predate they use in blues and have an African origin as attested to by a Negro love song by an English composer Samuel Coleridge Taylor from his African Suite for Piano written in 1898, which contained blue thirds and seven notes. The diddley bow, in parentheses, a homemade one-stinger instrument found in parts of the American South in the earlier 20th century, and the banjo are African-derived instruments that may help in the transfer of African performance techniques into the early blues instrument vocabulary. The banjo seems to be direct imported from West Africa music and is similar to the musician instrument that griots and other Africans such as Igbo play, in parentheses called Hayam and Totin by African people such as Wufo, Fula, and Manadika. However, in the 1920s, where country blues began to be recorded, the use of the banjo in blues music was quite marginal and limited to individuals such as Papa Charlie Jackson and later Gus Cannon. Blues music also adopted elements from the European as minstrel shows and Negro spirits includes instrumental and harmonic accom- why did they scratch this word out? We'll read it. Accompaniment. Okay. The style also closely relates to ragtime, which developed about the same time through the blue better preserves the original melodic patterns in African music. And it shows a picture of Charlie Patton, one of the originators of the Delta blues styles, playing a pick or a bottom neck slide. Okay. Okay. The musician forms and styles that are now considered the blues as well as modern country blues, aroused in the same region of the southern United States during the 19th century. Record blues and country music can be found far back as in 1920, where the record industry created the market category race music and hillbilly music. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop right there, family. If you remember when I read about jazz, and you remember I was reading about they call race music. They also call race music even blues, and also now then they make what they call hillbilly music. Okay, that goes to show that these white people back then they try to name this music, but at the same time they demonize us, but at the same time they make money off us. Want you to understand that, and they've been doing marketing of this for a long time, that they still doing it now. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention to that. To sell music to blacks for blacks and by whites for whites, respectively. Respectively. At the time, there was no clear musical division between blues and country. Is set for the ethnicity of performers. Even they was sometimes documented incorrectly by record companies. Like I said before, they was making money throughout. Musicologists can now attempt to define the blues narrow in terms of certain chord structures and lyric forms thought to have originated in West Africa. Audience originate heard the music in a far more general way. It was simple. The music of rural South noted the Mississippi Delta. Blacks and whites musicians shared the same repertory and thought of themselves as songsters rather than blues musicians. Wow. The notion of blues as a separate genre aroused during the black migration from the countryside to urban areas in the 1920s and the similarities developed of the record industry. Blues became a code word for record designed to sell black listeners. The origin of the blues are closely related to the religious music of Afro-American community, the spirituals. The originals of spiritual go back much further than the blues, usually dating back in the middle of the 18th century, where the slaves were Christianized and began to sing and play Christian hymns, in particular of those Isaac Watts, which were very popular. Before the blues gained a formal definition in terms of chord progressions, it was defined as a secular counterpart of spiritual. It was low down music played in rural blacks. Depending on the religion and depending on the religion community a musician belongs to, it was more or less considered a sin to play this low down music. Blues was the devil music, as I know y'all heard of your great grandparents. Musicians were therefore segregated into two categories: gospel singers and blues singers, guitar preachers and songsters. However, when rural black music began to be recorded in the 1920s, both categories of musicians used similar techniques: call and response pattern, blues notes, slide guitars. Gospel music was nevertheless using musical forms that were compatible with Christian hymns and therefore less marked by the blues form than secular counterparts. Pre-war blues. Pre-war blues. The American sheet music publishing industry produced a great deal of ragtime music. By 1912, the sheet music industry had published three popular blues like compositions, personification of the Tin Pan Alley, adopt blue elements such as Baby Seals Blue by Baby Franklin Seals, arranged by Artie Matthews, Dallas Blues by Hart Wine, The Memphis Blues by W.C. Handy. Handy was formed was a former trained musician, composer, and arranger who helped popularize popularize the blues by transcribing a orchestrated blues and an almost symphonic style with bands and singers. He became a popular and prolific composer and billed himself as the father of blues. However, his compositions can be described as fusion of blues with ragtime and jazz, a merger of horn family. Horn. I'm back, family. Fastation using the Cuban habanera rhythm that had long parts of ragtime. Handy's signature work was the St. Louis Blues. In the 1920s, the blues became a major element of African Americans and American popular music, reaching white audience via handy arrangements and the classical female blues performer. The blues evolved from informal performance in bars, entertainment, and theaters. Blues performance was organized by theaters, owners, bookers, associations, and nightclubs such as the Cotton Club and juke joints such as the Bars alongside Beale Street in Memphis, Tennessee, in Memphis. Several record companies such as American Record Corporation, OK Record. Now I'm gonna say what I heard it wrong. I heard that on record company before. They also do jazz too. So they was one of the first record companies that had blues too. And Paramount Records, also another record label, also had not just jazz but blues too. Began to record African American music as the recording industry grew. Country blues performed like Bo Carter, Jimmy Rogers, country singer, Blonde Lemon, Jefferson, Lonnie Johnson, Tampa Red, and Blonde Blake became more popular in the African American community. Kentucky born Sylvester Weaver was in 1923 in the first to record the slide guitar style, in which a guitar is fretted with a knife blade and the sawed off neck of a bottle. Impressive. The slide guitar became an important part of the Delta blues. The first blues recorded from 1920 also categorized as a traditional rural country blues and a more polished city or urban blues. Country blues performed often improvised either without a company or or with a banjo or guitar. Regional styles of a country blues varies widely in the early 1920th century. The Mississippi Delta blues was rusty, sparse style with passion vocals accompanied by slide guitar. A little record Robert Johnson combined elements of urban and rural blues. In addition to Robert Johnson' influential performers, his style included his predecessors Charlie Patton and Son House. Singers just as Blind Willie McTell and Blind Boy Fuller performed in the southeastern dele- delicate and lyrical Piedmont blues tradition, which used a elaborate ragtime-based finger picking guitar technique. Georgia also had a early slide tradition with Curly Weaver, Tampa Red, Barbecue Bob Hicks, and James Como Arnold as representations of this style. The lively Memphis blues style which developed in the 1920s and 30s near Memphis, Tennessee, was influenced by jug band such as the Memphis Jug Band, or the Gus Cannon Jug Stompers. Performance just as Frank Stokes, Sleepy John Estates, Robert Wilkins, Joe McCoy, Casey Bill Weldon, and Memphis Minnie use a very unusual instrument such as the washboard fizzle, kazoo, or mandolin. Memphis Minnie was famous to her virtuoso guitar playing. Now, people that now I don't know Minnie. I think Minnie was a woman. Now, if she come with that, that means that she was before the late great Rosetta Tharpe. But I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look her up though. I'm gonna look this name up. Oh, yeah. That means that she was one of the first came out to the guitar, y'all. Okay, want you to think on that. Pianist Memphis Slim began his career in Memphis, but his distinct style was smoother and has some swinging elements. Many blues musicians based in Memphis moved to Chicago in the late 1930s and late 1930s or in early 1940s to became part of the urban blues movement. Now, the picture shows Bessie Smith, a early blues singer known as for a powerful voice, the late great Bessie Smith. So let's put some respect on that name. A lot. Before I continue, quite a few women of that time. Oh, thank you, Malik. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate that. What's up? What's up, King? What's up, Kema? Let me break this down here. Quite a few women, and I want these black women to understand. I'm not talking about your black women. That they were spearhead of our music. Okay. Let me go back because I'm gonna go read this. Memphis Minnie, she played guitar, all right, in blues, was not really mentioned. So a black woman had been there too. Okay? But they was there, but they was in the fight with us as black men too. I want you to understand that. Before I continue, I want to shut out some people before I continue because I ain't that much to go. Greetings to the grind. Thanks a lot, Malik. I appreciate that for the super chat. Greetings to the grinder. Been a busy day trying to prepare for my film. Thank you. I appreciate that. Be safe out there, brother. And hit me up when you can, all right? Hit me up when you can. Thank you. So that's the name right there, Memphis Minnie. There it is. Urban Blues. City or urban blues style was more codified and elaborate as a performer was no longer within the local intermediate community and had to adapt to a larger, more variety audience aesthetic. Classic female urban and vaudeville blues singers were popular in the 1920s. Among them, the big three: Gertrude Ma Rainey, I read her, the great Bessie Smith, and Lucia Morgan, and Victoria Spivey. Mamie Smith, more than a vaudeville performer, than a blues artist. She was the first African American to record a blues song in 1920. Her second record, Crazy Blues, sold 75,000 copies in its first month. Ma Rainey, the mother of blues, and Bessie Smith each sang around center tones, perhaps in order to project her voice more easier to the back of the room. Smith would sing a song as in a usual key, and her artisticity in bending and stretching notes with a beautiful, powerful concerto to accommodate her own interpretation was unsurpassed. In 1920, the vaudeville singer Lucille Gaiman became the second black woman to record blues when she recorded the Jazz Me Blues. These recordings were typical label race music, as usual, to distinguish them from recording sold to white audience. Nevertheless, the recordings of some of the classic female blues singers were purchased by white buyers as well. These blues women contributions to the genre includes increasing improvisations of melodic lines, unusual phrases, which altered the emphasis of impact of the lyrics, and vocal dramatic using shout, groan, moan, and walls. Now I'm gonna stop right there. Now I know people say, "Oh, I was hearing this like 50 years ago and stuff." No, it came from blues. All right, it came from blues, family. So so you think about it, if you think of jazz, you think of blues. They had up a lot. There's a lot of people that incorporate stuff in there and everything, and we did as a people. Okay, the blues woman thus effected change in other types of popular singing that has spin off in jazz, Broadway musicals, torch songs family of the 1930s and 40s, gospel, rhythm and blues, and eventually rock and roll. Urban male performers include popular black musicians in the area such as we read before, Tampa Red, Big Bill Brosey, and Leroy Carr. An important label of this era was Chicago-based Bluebird Records. Before World War II, Tampa Red was sometimes referred as the Guitar Wizard. Carr accompanied himself on the piano with the Scrapper Blackwell on guitar, a format that continued well in the 1950s with such artists as Charles Brown and even Nat King Cole. And they showed the note, typical boogie woogie bass line note. Okay. Boogie woogie was another important style of 1930s and the early 1940s urban blues. While the style is often associated with solo piano, boogie woogie was also used as accompany singers and as a solo part in bands and smaller combos. Boogie woogie style was characterized by regular bass figure and alternate or riff and shifts of levels in the left hand, elaborating each chord and trills and decorating in the right hand. Boogie Woogie was pioneered by Chicago-based Jimmy Yancey and the Boogie Woogie Trio, Albert Armons, Pete Johnson, and Minnie Lutz Lewis. Chicago Boogie Woogie perform includes Clarence Pine Top Smith and Earl Hines, who linked the pulsive left hand rhythm of the ragtime pianist and melodic figures similar to those of Armstrong trumpet in the right hand. The smooth Louisiana style of Professor Longhair and most recent Dr. John blend classical rhythm and blues with blues styles. Another development in this period was big band blues. The, ter- the territory bands operating out of Kansas City, the Bean Moulton Orchestra, Jay Machine, and the Count Basie Orchestra were also concentrating on the blues. Now, they said Count Basie, I heard Count Basie before. Yeah, he was in jazz. He was in jazz. But at first he started off in blues and he became one of the best jazz arrangers and also band leaders. So he came part of the he started off for a part of blues too. Hold on, family. Let me get this off for you out there. Okay. Was also concentrated on the blues with a 12 bar instrumental such as basic 1 o'clock jump, and jump at the woodside, a boisterous blues shouted by Jimmy Rushing on songs such as Going to Chicago, Sent for You Yesterday. A well-known big bass tune is Glenn Miller in the Mood. In the 1940s, the jump blues style developed. Jump blues grew from the boogie woogie wave and was strongly influenced by big band music and used saxophone and other bass instruments and the guitar of the rhythm section to create a jazz up-tempo sound with the declamatory vocals. Jump blues turned by Louis Jordan and Big Joe Turner, based in Kansas City, Missouri, influenced the development in later styles such as rock and roll. So, see, see, rock and roll and rhythm and blues. Dallas-born T-Bone Walker was often associated with the California blues style, performed such a successful transition from early urban blues, along Lonnie Johnson and Leroy Kyle, to the jump blues style and dominated the blues jazz scene in Los Angeles back in the 1940s. 1950s. Now, people, I want you to understand this. How blues was evolving of each decade. See how it was really shaping because now, see, in the 1800s, they didn't know what it was white people that know they were singing, but they the ones started. And each after 1900, they start transforming. You see, it started as I was reading, as you know, it started evolving as jazz. Now we're gonna hit the 1950s. The transition up from country blues to urban blues that began in the 1920s was driven by successive waves of economic crisis and booms, which led many rural blacks to move to urban areas. In the movement, though as by great migration, the long loom following World War II inducted another massive migration of African American population was the second Great Migration. The first migration family was like in the 30s and the 40s, and my late great great grandmother and my late great great grandmother was part of that. The first migration. All right. The second migration, which was accompanied by a significant increase of the real income of urban blacks. The new migration constitutes a new market for music industry. The term race record, initially used by music industry for African American music, was replaced the term rhythm and blues. This rapidly evolved market was mirrored by Billboard magazine rhythm and blues chart. This marketing strategy reinforced trends in urban blues music, such as the use of electric instruments and amplification. Wow. And the generalization of the blues beat, the blues shuffle, which became a nitrous in R&B. This commercial stream has important consequences for blues music, which together with jazz and gospel music became a component of R&B. They showed the late great Muddy Waters, described as the guiding light of the modern blues school. And they showed Johnny Lee Hooker, Otis Rush, the originator of the West Side Sound. Okay, given this is history, family. This is our history. After World War II, new styles of electric blues became popular in cities such as Chicago, Memphis, Detroit, and St. Louis. Electric blues use electric guitar, double bass gradually replaced by bass guitar. Now, I'm gonna hold it right there. Um, go up 30 years later. Um, it was told that late Larry Graham, he played bass of the Slide in the Family Stone. I heard he played double bass, but I heard it was a 16 string, and that hard. Okay, I just want to bring that up. Hold on, family. Thanks for being patient with me. I know it's a lot of stuff, but I want y'all to know about stuff like this. This is history. Okay. Electric blues use electric guitar, double bass, gradually replaced by bass guitar. Okay, drums and harmonica or blues harp played throughout a microphone of a PA system or an overdriven guitar amplifier. Chicago became a center for electric blues from 1948 on, when Muddy Waters recorded his first successor, I Cannot Be Satisfied. Chicago blues is influenced by a larger extent of Delta blues because many performers has migrated from the Mississippi region. Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Willie Dixon, and Jimmy Reed was all born in Mississippi, moved to Chicago due to the Great Migration. Their styles is characterized by the use of electric guitar, sometimes slide guitar, harmonic, and rhythm section of playing drums. Now I'm gonna stop right there. Now, If y'all remember the movie Cadillac Records, you see you go hear the names Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Willie Dixon. All right, I believe here's some Jimmy Reed and stuff. All right, so also I'm gonna throw in Little Walter. Things having it, but I think no, Little Walter from no. Let's see, I think he came from somewhere else, but Hollywood, Muddy Waters, Willie Dixon. They was that names you hear from them. That was the movie Cadillac Records, and that was true. That was true story. And all of them it's in the Hall of Fame. I think Music Hall of Fame. Jimmy Reed was all born Mississippi, moved to the Great Migration. They styled Colorado by the use of electric guitar, sometimes guitar and rhythm harmonica, and the rhythm section of bass and drums. The saxophone J.T. Brown played in bands led by Elmore James and by J.B. Leonard, but the saxophone was used as a backing instrument for rhythmic support more than a lead instrument. Little Walter, there you go. I mentioned him, y'all. See that? Talked him up. Little Walter, Sonny Boy Williamson, Rice Miller, Sonny Terry are well known as harmonic called harp by blues musicians playing the early Chicago blues scenes. Other harp players such as Big Water Horton also influenced Muddy Waters, and Elmore James was known for their innovative use of slide guitar. Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters was known as their deep gravity voice. And I believe Howlin' Wolf played an excellent guitar too. And we know it was up Muddy Waters. He do it all. Very underrated. The bassman and prolific songwriter, composer Willie Dixon played a major role on Chicago blues scene. He composed and wrote many standard blues songs of the period, such as Hoochie Coochie Man, Just Want to Make Love to You, both penned for Muddy Waters, and Wang Dang Doodle, and Backdoor Man for Howlin' Wolf. Most artists of Chicago blues styles recorded from Chicago-based Chess Records at that time, and Checker Records labels, smaller blues labels of this era, including VJ Records. Now I'm gonna stop it right there. Now VJ Records, it was owned by Mother and Father Group at that time. Now a few years after that, they first when the Beatles first came, when the first British invasion, I'm talking about the early '60s family. It was saying that the Beatles was with VJ Records, the younger Beatles. All right, I'm gonna throw that in. I'm giving you extra jewels. All right, but it includes VJ Records and JOB Records. During the early 1950s, the dominant Chicago labels were challenged by Sam Phillips' Sun Records company in Memphis, which recorded B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf, before he moved to Chicago in 1960. After Phillips discovered Elvis Presley in 1954, the Sun label turned to a rapid expansion white audience and started recording mostly rock and roll. So that means they started off, um, they started off blues, and it goes to show they shift to rock and roll because at that time rock and roll was being popular and stuff. Okay, throw that in too. Underrated giving you jewels tonight. In the 1950s, blues had a huge influence on mainstream American popular music, while popular music like Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry, both recorded for Chess Records, was influenced by the Chicago blues. Their enthusiastic playing styles departed from the melodic aspects of blues. Chicago blues also influenced Louisiana Zynical music with Clifton Cherney. Using blues essays, Zynical musicians use electric solo guitars and conjoined arrangements of blues standards. Even Louisiana had their own style of blues. In England, electric blues took roots there during a much acclaimed Muddy Waters tour. Water unexpectedly of his audience tendency towards shift and accused softer brand of blues, turned up his amp and stopped to play his Chicago brand of electric blues. Although the audience was largely jolted by the performance influenced local musicians such as Alice Corner and Sarah Davy to emulate their loud style, inspired of the British invasion of the Rolling Stones and the Yardbirds. Now, if remember I was saying about the first British invasion, that was it. That they came with the Beatles, Rolling Stones, and the Yardbirds, right? In the late 1950s, a new blues style emerged on Chicago West Side, pioneered by Magic Sam, Buddy Guy, and Otis Rush on Cobra Records. The West Side sound had strong rhythmic support from rhythm, guitar, bass guitar, and drums as perfected by Guy, Freddie King, Magic Slim, and Luther Allison. Was dominated by improvised lead guitar. Expressive guitar solos were a key feature of his music. Other blues artists as Other blues artists such as Johnny Lee Hooker had influence not directly related to Chicago style. Johnny Lee Hooker blues is more personal based on Hooker's deep, rough voice accompanied by his single electric guitar. Thought not directly influenced by Boogie Woogie. His groovy sound is sometimes called guitar boogie. His first hit, Boogie Chilling, reached number one on the R&B charts in 1949. Impressive. By the late 1950s, the swamp blue genre developed near Baton, Baton Rouge with performers such as Light and Slim Harper. Now, um, Slim Harper is one of my favorite blues blues artists. He's played. I want y'all to hear "Scratch My Back." Don't. I don't want y'all to play when I'm on here. Or later on, I want you to go back. It should be on YouTube. "Scratch My Back." Hard. I'm talking about hard. But you will hear that Baton Rouge sound. Okay, Slim Harper, Sam Myers, and Jerry McCain. Again, I'm gonna go back. Slim Harper. He made a song that "Scratch My Back." I want y'all to go hear it. All right. And Jerry McClain, around producer J.D. J. Miller and the Cedo label. Strongly influenced by Jimmy Reed, Swamp Blues had a slower pace and a simpler use of harmonic than Chicago Blues style, performed such as Little Walter or Muddy Waters. Songs from this genre include Scratch My Back, like I said before. So Scratch My Back, She's Tough, I'm a King Bee. Alice Lomax recorded Mississippi Fred McDonald would eventually bring him widely attention on both blues and folk circuit. With McDonald's droning style influenced North Mississippi Hill country blues musician. Okay, now now we get to evolving. Now it's gonna be another evolving blues. This 1960s, 1970s. By the beginning of the 1960s, influenced by African American music such as rock and roll and soul were part of mainstream popular music. White performers such as the Beatles had brought African American music to new audiences both within the United States and abroad. However, the blues was brought into such art such as Muddy Waters to the foreground has stopped. Bluesmen such as Big Big Bill Brosey and Willie did start looking for new markets in Europe. Dick Waterman and the blues festivals he organized in Europe played a major role in propagating blues music abroad. In the UK, bands emulate blues legends, and US blues rock-based bands had a influence role throughout the 60s. Blues performers just as Johnny Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters continued to perform is actually an audience inspired new artists step into the traditional blues such as New York born Taj Mahal became a great. Johnny Lee Hooker, of course, blended his blues style with rock elements and played with younger white musicians create a music style can be heard in 1971 Endless Boogie, B.B. King sang, and virtuous guitar technique earned him an anonymous title King of the Blues. King introduced a sophisticated style of guitar, soliciting based on fluid string binding and simmering variations of that influenced many latest electric blues guitarists. In contrast to the Chicago style, King Band used strong bass from a support trumpet and trombone instead of using slide guitar harp. Tennessee-born Bobby Blue Brand. Now I'm gonna hold this right here and I'm gonna get back to it. Bobby Blue Brand. If you remember, JC said in the city, he got that he got that sound from Bobby Blue Brand back in '74. All right, let me say it again. In the city, if you remember, JC, he wrap up that go. No, I can't even do that. Can't do that because they were working. But I just want y'all to look that up. But Jay-Z got that. He got that from in the city from Bobby Blue Brand in '74. Okay, let me keep it going. Like B.B. King also strayed into the blues and R&B generally. During this period, Freddie King and Albie King often played with rock and roll musicians Eric Clapton and Booker T and the MGs. Had a major influence of those styles of music. Now people say, who Booker T's and MGs? They started with Sax Records. They the one make Green Onions. They made quite a few hits. All right? All right. And they show Eric Clapton perform at the Hyde Park, London in June 2008. And there's a lot of British musicians at the time. They was they love our music. so they was infusing our music at the time too, back in the 60s in Hyde Park, London. That's what I'm saying. The music of the civil rights movement and free speech movement in the U.S. prompt a resurgence of interest American root music in the early African American music, as well festivals just as Newport Folk Festival. Now I'm gonna hold this right here too. If y'all remember, y'all watch Ray Charles that played by play our brother. If y'all see that he was like talking to somebody in I believe he played I think he was talking to Quincy Jones and he was talking about you can have all this money And then they told Newport Festival that I believe that's in Rhode Island. That's the festival they talking about. Okay, giving you jewels tonight. Giving you jewels. Okay, brought traditional blues to New Orleans, which helped revive interest in pre-war accused blues performed just as Son House, Mississippi, John Hurt, Skip James, and Reverend Gary Davis. Many, comp- many compilations of classic pre-war blues were republished by Yazoo Records. J.B. Leonard from Chicago Blues Movement in the 1950s recorded several LP using accused guitar and sometimes accompanied by Willie Dixon on the accused bass or drums. His songs originally distributed only in Europe, commented on political issues such as racism or Vietnam War issues, which are usual from this period. His album Alabama Blues contained a song with the following lyric: I never will go back to Alabama. That is not the place for me. You know they killed my sister and my brother. The whole world let them people go down there free. And see, I'm gonna stop right there and I'm gonna keep it going because see at the time they was freezing us out. They ain't want us to tell the truth. So we have to understand it. And then also to show the picture, Texas Blue guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan. White audience interest in the blues during the 1960s increasingly due to Chicago-based Paul Butterfield Blues brand featured guitarist Michael Bluefield and the British blues movement. The styles of British blues developed in the UK with bands such as the Animals. Now, I'm gonna hold it right there. Now, y'all remember I'm talking about the first British invasion, right? That's the Beatles, the Yardbirds, and the Rolling Stones. This is the second British invasion comes in the United States. Now some of these bands have been around for a long time. All right. Now I'm gonna read it off and I'm gonna explain each one. I know it's getting late, family. I know it's a lot of just bear with me. I'm sorry. It's a lot of stuff. Now the Animals. The Animals was headed by what his name? His first name is Eric. All right. He the one, and a few years later that start off war. That spilled that wine. All right. And also that's when war went on. Yeah, he left war. We already know what war did. War, one of the underrated bands in the 70s, they made a lot of hits too. Okay. Fleetwood Mac came in. Fleetwood Mac had a pretty good career. They've been in the music industry. I believe over 20-something years. I think they disbanded back in the late 80s. Okay, John Marshall and the Blues Seekers, they've been out a few years, and the Rolling Stones still going strong today. The Yardbirds, I really believe they was I said about 7 to 10 years, something like that. Supergroup Cream, Cream been out for a few years. All right, it been out a few years, and then it transformed. Okay, and the Irish musician Rory Gallagher performed classic blues songs from the Delta or Chicago blues tradition. I'm just giving you jewels. All right. Okay. In 1903, Leroy Jones, later known as Amory Barker, was the first to write a book on social history of the blues, in blues people, the Negro music in white America. And they showed a picture of the Argentina Power Trio Mama in 1970, the first blue group to perform in Spanish. Telling you blues, man, I'm telling y'all. It's Blues with Brian Eno. In 1970, the trio member established Argentina as based on blues sing in Castina. Influenced poetically by tango and German picnic. Musical by the blues, rock, jazz, African music of River Plate. The trio composed by Alejandro Medina, Javier Martinez, and Claude Gabis created music that fused the roots of German born in the Mississippi Delta with elements of Itosis, Ados, and Crasit. I think I pronounced it right. And local geographic Pania. The lyrics of Mana emphasize aestheticism. The industry city of the railroad is notable on one of the most well-known songs, Adelina Blues. Oh, they was let's see. It says Spanish, but it says said you know in English, dead rail streets with absolute always shattered, freight trains, smoke, soot are everywhere. South and oil barrels in the mud, abandoned sheds, dirty, mudded. The water is rotten and forgotten. Shoot. Okay? The British and musicians in the early 1960s inspired a number of American blues rock fusion performed, included the Doors, Cannon Heat. All right, and the Doors been now the Doors is from the U.S. They from L.A. I mean they from L.A. They from different parts and stuff like that. They formed in UCLA, I believe, film class. Okay, Can Heat been out? I think Can Heat been like maybe like 5 6 years. And the early Jefferson Airplane, they changed their name. They've been out for like maybe they've been about 14 15 years. Janis Joplin, she died of suicide. I don't believe it. That's back in 1970. Johnny Winters, he had string of hits back in 1970. The um the the J Jazz band, they had like a 4 or 5 good years. Ryan Coogler, the Allman Brothers. They've been out for a long time. They've been there. I believe they still performing. Now the Allman Brothers. They've been out like about 20 years. Okay. One blue rock performer, Jimi Hendrix, you already know about him, was a rarely in his field at the time, a black man who played psychedelic rock. Hendrix was a skilled guitarist. Now, stop at Jimi Hendrix. The one who discovered Jimi Hendrix was the Isley Brothers. If y'all go like the Isley Brothers, um, got soul, something like that, I forgot. He played guitar on that. Okay, and other stuff. That's when the Isley Brothers first came out with their own label. T-Neck Records, right? It came with T-Neck Records, but they they put that in the back burner because they wasn't making no money. That's when they with the Motown and stuff, and then a few years later, they reestablished T-Neck Records. I just want to throw it in. Okay. And a pioneer of innovative use of distorted and auto feedback in his music. That's Jimi Hendrix. Dorothy's artists with other blues music influence developed of rock music. Santana was originally called Santana Blues Brand, also experimented with Latin influenced blues and blues rock music around that time. At the end of 1950s, it appeared the bluesy Tulsa sound, that's Oklahoma, merges rock and roll, jazz, and country influence. The particular music style was popularized in 1970 by J.J. Cale, and the cover versions of performer of Eric Clapton, After Midnight and Cocaine. In the early 1970s, the Texas rock blues style emerges which used guitar both solo and rhythm rolls. In contrast with the West Side blues, the Texas style is strongly influenced by the British rock movement. Major artists of the Texas are Johnny Winters, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, led by harmonic player and singer-songwriter Kim Wilson, and ZZ Top. These artists all began their musical careers in the 70s, but did not achieve international success until the next decade. Matthias Sina, Zuzi Hero, gets credit as the father of Italian blues and is among the few European blues artists is still enjoying great international success. See, like I said, family, it's evolving. Since 1980s has been resurgence of interest in the blues among of certain parts of the African American population, particularly around Jackson, Mississippi, and other deep South regions. Often termed soul blues or southern soul. The music at the heart of this movement was given a new life by unexpected success of two particular recordings on a Jackson-based Miles label. ZZ Hill, Down Home Blues, 1982, and Little Milton, The Blues Is Alright, 1984. Contemporary African American performers who work on the styles on the blues were Bobby Rush, Denise LaSalle. I did a story of Denise LaSalle, the late great Denise LaSalle. She passed away early January. Sir Charles Jones, Betty LaVette, Marvin Seas. Why don't you check them out? I might do a story of Marvin Seas too. Candy Lickin', that's what he made. He made some songs too, but he made Candy. Peggy Scott Adams, Mel Waiters, Clarence Carter. Now people say, what's Clarence Carter? Clarence Carter was in R&B too, but he played blues too. Dr. Feelgood Potts, O.B. Bushart, Miss Jody, Shirley Brown, and dozens of others. During the 1980s, blues has continued in both tradition and new forms. In 1986, the album Strong Persuader announced Billy Craig as major blues artist. The first Stevie Ray Vaughan recorded Texas Flood was released in 1983, and the Texas-born guitarist exploded into international stage. Johnny Lee Hooker popularized or revived with the album The Healer, 1989. Eric Clapton, known for his performance with the Blues Breaker and Cream, made a comeback in the 1990s with his album Unplugged, in which he played some of his standard blues numbers on an acoustic guitar. However, the beginning of 1990 additional multi-track records and other technological advances in new market strategy, including video clip, produced increasingly cost-challenging the spontaneity and improvisation that are important component of blues music. They show the late great Lisa LaSalle. In sorry, fam, I know it's a lot of stuff. Just bear with me. I'm sorry. In the 1990s, largely ignored hill country blues gained more minor recognition in both blues and alternative rock music circles, with northern Mississippi artists R.W. Burnside and Julia Kimbrough. Blues performance explore a range of music genres as it can be seen, for example, from the broad array of nominees of yearly's Blue Music Award, previously named W.C. Handy Award, or, or of the Grammy Award for Best Contemporary and Traditional Blues Album. The Billboard Blues Album provide an overview of current blues hits. Contemporary blues music is nurtured by several blues labels such as Alligator Records, Root Records, Severn Records, Chess Records, MCA parentheses, Delmont Records, Northern Blues, Northern Blues Music, Fat Pausing Records, and Vanguard Records. Artemis Records, some of the labels are famous for rediscovering and remastered blues rarities, including and Holy Records, Smithsonian Folkway Recordings, Hairs from Folkway, Hears from Folkway Records in parentheses, and Yazoo Records and Shydance Records. From the late 2000s to the present day, blues rock had gained cultural followings, especially at the rise of the internet, when artists started creating YouTube channels, forums, and Facebook pages. Notable blues rock musicians in this period, including Joan Wamase, Gary Clark Jr., John Maser, Shamika Copeland, Eric Gales, Kenny Wayne, Shepard, Walter Trott, Beth Hart, Warren Hayes, Jason Ricca, Susan Tessessy, Derek Truck, Ben Harper, in collaborating with Charlie, mostly white, and Orathy. Alternative rock artists still combine strong elements of the blues in their music, especially ZZ Ward, Cage, The Elephant, Jack White, and the Black Keys. Music impact. Almost finished, family. Blues musician music styles form 12-12 bar melodies and blues scales have influenced many genres of music such as rock and roll and popular music. Prominent jazz folks, rock performers just as Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, and Bob Dylan have performed significant blues recordings. The blues scale is often used by popular songs like Harold Arden, Blues in the Night, blues ballads like such as I Fell for You, and Please Send Me Some to Love, and even in orchestra work such as George Gershwin and Remscheid in Blue. In Concentrate in F, Gershwin's second prelude for solo pianos is an interest example of a classical blues maintain the form with academic strictness. The blues scale is ubiquitous in modern popular music and informs many modal frames, especially the latter of thirds, using in rock music, for example, A Hard Day Night. Blues forms are used in themes for television, Batman, Teen Idol, Fabian, form hit Turn Me Loose, country music star Jimmy Rogers music, and guitarist slash vocalist Ricky Chapman hit Give Me to One Reason. Early country bluesmen such as Skip James, Charlie Patton, George Tom Dorsey played country and urban music. Urban blues, I'm sorry, and had influence for spiritual singing. Dorsey helped popularize gospel music. Gospel music developed in the 1930s with the Golden Gate Quartet. In the 1950s, soul music by Sam Cooke, Ray Charles, James Brown used gospel and blues musical element in the 60s and 70s. And also, I said James Brown, Circle, they also use African sounds too. They ain't put in that, but I put it. Okay. Funk music in the 1970s was influenced by soul. Funk could be seen as antecedent of hip hop and contemporary R&B. R&B music can be traced in spiritual and blues. Musically, spirit was descendant of New England chores tradition, and particularly in Isaac Watts hymns, mixed with African rhymes in call and response forms. Spiritual and traditional chants in the African American community are much better documented than the low down blues. Spirit singing developed because African American communities could gather for mass or worship gatherings, which called camp meetings. Edward P. Cummington had know how blues was often used in medium for art and self-expression, as heard from Delta Shacks to Chicago teaming to Harlem Cabaret, and blues proving despite its painful origins and remarkable flexible medium in the new arena for the Shabby identified community. They showed through Elton Strata, the big band bebop generate. Elton instinctively used up blues form. Before World War II, boundaries between blues and jazz was less clearly. Unusual jazz had modern structures, seemingly brass band, whereas blues had blues forms such as 12 bar. However, the jump blues in the 1940s both mixing styles after World War II. Blues had a substantial influence on jazz. Bebop classics such as Charlie Parker, Now's the Time, used the blues form with the pentatonic scales of blues note and blue notes. Bebop marked a major shift in the roles of jazz from the popular style of music for a dance for high art, less accessible cerebral musician music. The audience of both blues and jazz split, and the borders between blues and jazz became more defined. The blues 12 bar structure and the blues scale was a major influence on rock and roll music. Rock and roll has been called blues with a backbeat. Carl Perkins called rockable rockabilly blues with a country beat. Rockabilly's was also said to be 12 bar blues played with a bluegrass beat. Hondo with its unmodded 12 bar structure, in parentheses in both harmonic and lyrics, and a melody centered on flat third of the tonic and flattest seventh of the subdivisional. Is a blues song transformed into rock and roll song. Jerry Lee Lewis styles of rock and roll was heavily influenced by the blues and its the derivative boogie woogie. His style of music was not exactly rockabilly, but it has been often called real rock and roll. This is a label shares with several Afro-American rocks and roll performers. Merely early rock and roll songs based on blues. That's that's all right, mama. Johnny B. Good. Blue suede shoes. Whole lot of shaking going on. Shake, ride and roll, and long tail Sally. Early African American musicians. I mean, the early African American rock musicians retained a sexual theme and an enunciation of blues music. Got a girl named Sue, know what to do. Tutti Frutti, Little Richard, or see the girl with the red dress on. She could do the Birdland all night long. What did I say? Ray Charles in parentheses. The 12-bar blues structure can be found even notably pop songs, just as Bob Dylan, obviously Five Believers, and Esther and Abbey Arfami, Cinderella Rockefeller. Early country music was influenced by blues. Jimmy Rogers, Moon, Mulligan, Bob Willis, Bill Monroe, and Hank Williams have all described themselves as blues singers, and their music has been is blues free. That is different at first glance, at least. At the later country pop and artists like Eddie Arnold. Yet, if one looks back further, Arnold also started out singing bluesy songs like "I'll Hold You in My Heart." A lot of 1970 era outlaw country music by Willie Nelson and Wayne James. Also borrowed from the blues. When Jerry Lee Lewis returned to country after the decline in 1950s star rock and roll, he sang his country and blues and also includes blues standards on his album. Okay. I think this gonna be the last of it. Now in popular culture. Now, I took it all. I was reading about everything. How you see how I was involving. Now in popular culture. Now, the music of Taj Mahal in 1972 Phil Saunders marked the revival interest of accused blues. A great tune. Like jazz, rock and roll, heavy music, hip hop music, reggae, rap, country music, and pop music. Blues has been accused of being the devil music and it been inciting violence and other poor behavior. In the early 20th century, the blues considered disruptive, especially as white audiences began listening to the blues during the 1920s. In the early century, W.C. Handy was the first to popularize blues music among non-black Americans. During the blues revival in the 1960s and 70s, accused blue artists Taj Mahal and legendary bluesman Lightning Hopkins wrote and performed music that figures probably in the popularity and critical acclaim film Sonda. The film earned Mahal a Grammy nomination for Best Original Score written for a motion picture BAFTA nominated. Almost 30 years later, Mahal wrote blues and performed a banjo composition, Claw Hammer Style. In 2001, movie release Songcatcher was focused on the story of the preservation of roots of acapella. I'm sorry, Appalachia. Appalachia. Perhaps the most visible examples of the blues styles of music in the late 1920s came to 1980 when Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi released the film The Blues Brothers. The film drew many of the biggest living influences of the rhythm and blues genre together, such as Ray Charles, Jim Brown, Cab Calloway, Aretha Franklin, and John Lee Hooker. The band formed almost began a successful tour under the Blue Notes marquee. In 1998, bought a sequence Blues Brothers 2000. That, while not holding a such great a critical final success, features a much larger number of blues artists: B.B. King, Bo Diddley, Erykah Badu, Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Charlie Musselwhite, Blues Traveler, Jimmy Vaughn, and Jeff Baxter. In 2003, Martin Scorsese made a significant effort to promote blues to a larger audience. He asked several famous directors, such as Clint Eastwood, Wim Wenders, to participate in the series documentary films that previous the blues. He also participated on the recording of compilations of major blues artists, such as the series High Quality CDs, Blues Guitars and Vocabulary, Kid Mo, before his blue recording of America the Beautiful. In 2006, to close out his final season on television series The Rex Wing. The Blues was highly in 2017 episode of the performance in the White House entitled Red, White, and Blue, hosted by President Obama and Miss Obama. The show performed B.B. King, Buddy Guy, Billy Clark Jr., Jeff Beck, Derek Truss, and Kamo, and others. Okay. I think that's it, family. Let me hit this. What? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Oh, thank you so much. I'd be very much appreciated. I am glad that y'all enjoy this. And so I gave you history on blues. I want to thank y'all so much to join. I know it's a lot. Um, Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I want to thank y'all so much to join and everything. I know it was a lot. Trust me, it was a lot. But this needs to be yeah, I'm sold tonight. I'm sold tonight. I'm not gonna bring because it's too late. Um, I appreciate. I really appreciate. I appreciate Shug. Thanks for giving me. Thanks for the donation. I mean, thanks for the super chat. Thanks Malik Omar, and also thank you so much. Oh wow, thank you so much, Jasmine. I really appreciate that. And here's my. I'm gonna put down my email. Anybody want to talk? I be up. Here goes my Gmail. So anybody want to hit me up, feel free. I'll be up for a while. We're gonna read some stuff, you know. But thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, Jasmine. If you can, um, I wanna talk to you about something. Could you email me after when I end this live? My email's in the chat. Let me know you got it. Are there anybody else too? Press one, you got it. And the ones who come in, salute to you.
Jasmine, you got me email. Press 1. Or anybody else? Press 1. Well, King. Okay. 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 All right, Jasmine. As soon as I end this, I want you to email me, okay? Oh. I want y'all. Thanks for everything. To hear the history of blues. And remember, this is our history. And we need to celebrate our history throughout the year. You hear me? So it's very important. Like I said, I put the link. Also had PayPal. Also had Super Chat. I will be back today. I'm gonna do my usual fellowship live. I'm gonna have some dessert ready. I got some food. I don't know how I'm gonna do it up, but I got it. Oh, I'm gonna do something nice for the family. Okay? Um, so watch out. So I want y'all to watch out for that. And I might, oh yeah, I'm just saying, and I might do a live before that. I might do a live in the morning or early afternoon. But Jasmine, after that, but Jasmine, I want you to get in touch with me when I end this live. All right, very important. So I want you to get in touch with me, and anybody else. All right, all right. I want to thank you again to join me and learn about the history of blues. And the ones, like I said, the ones who come in, they might have to catch on the replay when I end this. All right. Till next time, get host.